Okay, the sad story of Ray Fisher probably has come to an end. There was rumors that he wouldn't be in the Flash movie, especially, which is really pretty bad considering that it's supposed to be somewhat derivative of the Flashpoint story, although they've said it'll be much different from that. However, if they were keeping certain elements from it, Cyborg played a very big role in that story. And, well, that's not going to happen. The latest rumor is that Superman will take his place so that Henry Cavill might be in the film. So there's that. But this whole thing has just been so weird. Well, yeah, just weird. And I think it's Mr. Fisher has some serious problems. He seemed like a cool guy and everything at the outset, and then, well, you don't really know anybody, until until you do. So he's not going to be in the Flash movie. In fact, I'm sure, I just don't see any chance of him ever being Cyborg again, other than, of course, the Snyder Cut. But that'll be that. So the announcement is official and whatnot. So he released this letter about this whole ordeal and the Justice League investigation and all that. So here it is. He says, I've received official confirmation that Warner Brothers Pictures has decided to remove me from the cast of The Flash. I strongly disagree with their decision, but it is one that is unsurprising. Well, yeah. Despite the misconception, Cyborg's involvement in The Flash was much larger than a cameo. Well, that's what I thought. A cameo, maybe they would have whittled it down considering his attitude lately. But I think it was meant to be closer to the Flashpoint story, and he blew that away. So he says, and while I do mourn the lost opportunity to bring Victor Stone back to the screen, bringing awareness to the actions of Walter Hamada will prove to be a much more important contribution to our world. Yeah. So it started with Joss Whedon and John Berg to some extent, and then Jeff Johns was the big villain. Now Walter Hamada is the villain, even though he wasn't involved in Justice League at the time, but he wouldn't deliver Jeff Johns' head on a platter, so he became the villain. So on December 30th, 2020, I made it clear that I cannot, with a clear conscience, participate in any production associated with the current president of DC Films, Walter Hamada. The reasoning behind that declaration was twofold. Walter's purposeful attempt to undermine the Justice League investigation in order to protect his friend and former co-president, Jeff Johns. Walter's attempt to protect himself by contributing to the public dissemination of lies and misinformation about myself and the Justice League investigation in Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to the Wrap. Bear in mind, Walter Hamada interfering with the Justice League investigation is a completely separate issue than the investigation itself. And while Walter's behavior was not a point of focus for the investigation of the Justice League reshoots, I guess so, because he wasn't involved in it, his dangerous and enabling actions during the investigation process must be called to account. On July 7th, 2020, during a 57-minute-long phone call with Walter, I made multiple attempts to have him escalate my claims of misconduct against Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns, and John Berg through the proper channel. Rather than escalate the situation, when initially asked, Walter disparaged Joss Whedon and John Berg in an attempt to cover for Jeff Johns. When I alerted Walter that Jeff was, in fact, a major contributor to the issues experienced, including blatant racism. That's a new bit. He hadn't really mentioned that before. Recently, he said he heard from someone else say that Joss Whedon changed the skin tone of characters because he didn't like their dark skin, which is utter nonsense. The color changes of the Justice League is obvious when you look at the trailers and whatnot, and you saw the actual theatrical release. Everything is, the saturation goes up. It goes from it abandons a blue tone from Zack Snyder's version of it to a very strongly red tone. So, yeah, did he watch the movie? Maybe not. I'm sure he wanted Snyder's version and all that, and I don't blame him on that. But this is the thing. He actually referred to that as the reason he spoke out, not from what he witnessed himself. This is his own words in his previous statements, is that he heard this from someone else who said that they were aware of this, that's what Jeff Johns did. Now it's moved to, not Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, I'm sorry. Now it is moved to Jeff Johns is somehow racist. Well, let's see. He'll give the examples of this that prove it, I imagine, because it's a serious allegation, so you got something, right? Walter tried, but to no avail, to get me to reveal the names of witnesses and other specifics that could be used to forewarn Jeff of the claims being brought against him. Walter even went so far as to sharply dismiss certain claims of mine as untrue because of his work experience and personal relationship with Jeff. Okay, yeah, he's saying he knows the man better than you. You've already admitted they're friends, so he does. He's asking you, give him something to explain or to prove your claims here, and you're getting insulted about it and saying, oh, well, I got to protect people. Well, you're the witness for the most of this, aren't you? So you could explain exactly what Jeff did. He never does. And Hamada's got a point. He knows the man. He says, I've never heard him say anything like that or do anything. Whatever it is he's supposed to have done, we don't know. Did he say something? He says he threatened his career. Now, that's getting a ring of truth here that he didn't like Joss Whedon's attitude, which that part, I've never doubted him. There's been a lot of smoke, so there's fire about Joss Whedon being a complete a-hole. And I'm sure that's the way he was on that set. Other people have described it that it was very rushed and quick because they had a short amount of time to do this, and he was put on the burden of reshooting the damn film to the point that it's an entirely different movie, which we now know is true. There's only a small bit of Zack Snyder left in it. And so he basically had to shoot an entirely new movie here and get it done in time for the release date, which was just a couple of months away. So a lot of that makes it. Then there was bad experiences with his attitude towards Gal Gadot, not wanting to do the scene with the Flash falling on her, all that type of stuff. And everybody, and that he was just a complete a-hole on set. Okay. So it seems they all agreed that, yeah, he was a problem and he got the boot. Plus he's got a lot of other problems too. He got Me Too and all this stuff. Nothing there about racism. Never gave a scintilla of evidence of it whatsoever. He just throws it out there and admits it's not even his, something he witnessed or experienced. It's a story he heard from someone else. You just don't go in with hearsay like that. And it says that was the reason he started speaking out, because he heard that story. He said, that was it. Damn it. I'm going to speak out, And then here, now Jeff Johns is a racist. And he offers nothing. Hamada's like, what have you got? It's not, well, he's trying to find out who the witnesses were. And you're the one making the claim. He had nothing. He just can't, it appears he loses his mind if you question him on anything. So now that's why Walter is now the villain. Now, at the time he talked about this phone call initially, and he kept making the claim that Walter was saying, "Oh, I don't think Jeff Johns was like that." Yeah, but you weren't there, and that's a strong claim. He was there at the moment of whatever it was that was supposed to have happened. So that means you don't need to be protecting other witnesses. You're the witness. So what is it? He never says. It just says he committed blatant racism. He continues. Walter indicated that he was briefed on Joss Whedon's problematic behavior well in advance of my speaking out on July 1st, 2020. That briefing likely came from Jeff Johns. Well, what do you know? He's still, hey, Joss Whedon was a big asshole. With whom Walter served as co-president, he found. Regardless of how he was made aware, Walter knew that there was legitimacy to my claims against Joss Whedon. Yeah, but that's not the charges you're making. Yet he persisted in trying to minimize and dismiss the situation, claiming that it was the producer's job to protect the director and that he was looking to move beyond anything to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. All right, that's the position they were in. From on high, Warner Brothers said, we're going to move away from that. We don't like the numbers we got from Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel. And they got scared and they said to try to change course at the 11th hour, which, granted, was incredibly stupid. It was too late to do anything like that. You're stuck with what you got, and you just got to hope for the best. But that's what they did. And that's what Jeff Johns is brought in to take over, and that's what they wanted. So he's got an actor coming in, and Joss Whedon was mean to me, and he's telling him, well, suck it up. You know, man up and do your job. Oh, he couldn't handle that. That's what it looks like. I'm not seeing any other evidence to the contrary here. And that's what Walter's trying to get through his head here. He doesn't want to hear it. He's a prophet of justice here, so he must not be questioned, ever. It wasn't until I argued Walter down that he agreed to escalate my claims as asked, citing it as above his pay grade, knowing that he had overstepped. And that I had no intention, knowing that he had overstepped, and that I had no intention of backing down. Walter made matters worse by making a tastelessly self-aware joke about not wanting me to put him on Twitter about this. Well, here we are. He made a joke about being on, which, of course, you went on Twitter, so this is considered one of the big sins of Walter Hamada, apparently. Yeah. Despite Walter's best efforts, the Justice League investigation was able to expose the racist, coercive, discriminatory, and retaliatory behavior of Jeff Johns during his tenure with Warner Media. It did it? Where is it? It has also led to the more immediate parting of ways between Warner Media and Joss Whedon. Well, that's Joss Whedon, but it's not Jeff Johns, and you never proved anything racist about Joss Whedon either. I mean, people accept that he's an asshole because he's always been an asshole. But none of this business of racism. While it may be legally and financially safer to quietly phase Jeff Johns out, or to let Joss Whedon exit of his own accord, I share neither of those responsibilities. My responsibilities are, and have been, to try to protect those that were brave enough to lend their voice to the Justice League investigation. To use what little power I possess to ensure that the workplace behavior exhibited during the Justice League reshoots and its investigation never happens again. No one in any profession should have to argue with their employer for their claims of abuse, racism, and discrimination to be taken up the proper chain of command. And no one in any position of leadership should attempt to dissuade those wishing to report such claims from doing so. So they can't ask for proof. They just have to accept your word, which you refuse to do, which is rather suspicious. Walter's actions have transformed this narrative from an investigation of on-set misconduct in 2017 to the examination of the present-day cover-up culture of Hollywood. His contribution to Warner Brothers Pictures' September 4th statement to the Wrap was false, cowardly, and reckless. I maintain that Walter Hamada is unfit for a position of leadership, and I am willing, at any point, to submit to a polygraph test to support my claims against him. Well, what? Your claims that you don't like him? Because you're not willing to offer any evidence of these claims that you just say are racist and are inappropriate or what have you, but you never really say what it was. Well, that would be an interesting test, even though polygraph tests are absolute bullshit, but, I don't know how many instances of workplace abuse Walter has attempted to cover up in the past, but hopefully the Justice League investigation will be the last. And if the end of my time as Cyborg is the cost, it is, unfortunately, for helping to bring awareness and accountability to Walter Hamada's action, I'll pay it gladly. Onward, gratefully, Ray. A's greater than E. Oh, you reach a point in life where you simply must take a stand. Maybe till Mobley. Yeah. Yeah. You see, he thinks he's this, movement hero or something. Oh, God. He just burnt his career down for this delusion. Because, I mean, look, that's what the point of it's all he's protecting somebody else. All right. But you're claiming personal experience with this, so you can't protect yourself. You've already said this out loud. You've already publicly stated this. So you would have something, but you never did. And he claims it's all been proven. It has? Geez. So I guess Jeff Johns is, what's this? Well, geez, that's a couple of days ago. Despite claims made by Ray Fisher, it is reported that Jeff Johns is still at Warner Brothers. And DC was involved with films and TV projects. Fisher has been accusing Johns, Joss Whedon, John Berg of various allegations in regards to filming the Justice League movie. Claimed on Twitter, Thursday, Jeff Johns will be following Whedon and leaving the WB. Had Walter Hamada gotten his way, none of that would have been possible, and the cycle of abuse would have continued. Yeah. Well, a report from Variety refutes Ray Fisher's claims about Jeff Johns and says Johns is sticking around. Writer-producer Jeff Johns has multiple projects at Warner Media and remains working with the company despite a claim from actor Ray Fisher that Johns will be parting ways with Warner Media following the company's investigation into Fisher's allegations of misconduct on Justice League. Multiple sources confirmed to Variety. Yeah, he's involved in all these TV shows for CW and HBO Max. And boy, HBO Max wants content, so if he's their guy for it, then so be it. It was mentioned that his Green Lantern project isn't coming to fruition, but he has involvement with the series, which doesn't sound like it's going to be all that great. It might look cool, but it's, that's another story. But I don't see him getting the boot. So, What did you do, Jeff? What did you do? You nasty! You wore that horrible T-shirt on the set, didn't you? Oh, you can't just throw stuff around like that for months and then you got nothing. You say, "Oh, I'm protecting people." At the same time, claiming you were there and you saw it, so you could be the witness, but you never said what it was. And now all of a sudden, they're all racist. This is terrible behavior, and he's got nothing. There would have been something by now, and this is all really sad, and he just destroyed his career. So that's it for Ray Fisher. So I guess they'll have to recast Cyborg if Snyder Cut is this huge smash hit, and you gotta continue with that, which I don't know if that's likely, but it's a mess over there. They got a lot of problems. You notice Ezra Miller is really quiet. Turns out he might be the smartest one of the whole group. He got in serious trouble attacking that girl, and he's kind of disappeared and kept quiet. Smart thinking, Mr. Miller. Meanwhile, stupid Amber Heard keeps going her war with Johnny Depp and is now dragging Disney into it. So, well, we'll see how that works out. But all she's got is that there's rumors she's going to get her own series. I just find that hard to believe. But again, being in Snyder Cut is what saved her. But neither her nor Miller is actually attacking the head of DC Films in Warner Media. So Ray, who doesn't really have any scandals to speak of, he didn't commit any crimes or anything like that. He's not in a nasty divorce. He didn't bite off someone's finger and poop in the bin or anything. But he just, I don't know, goes after his boss and doesn't really explain why. He just throws a bunch of accusations and never really substantiates anything. accusations that apparently he didn't witness himself. So, what a mess. And see, it's really, part of the problem is, it's like, gee, how hard is it to get a movie made? Oh, man, a lot harder than you would think. I know Jason Momoa stood by him, but it seemed like he was more on board about what a nasty thing it was on set, and how much of an a-hole Whedon was, and that sort of thing. And they just didn't like the new guys coming in, and the situation with Zack Snyder and all that. But he's pretty quiet now about it. So, yeah, that's too bad. Oh well, what are you gonna do? Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.